So I was sitting there in my apartment, minding my business, scrolling through Instagram, when this picture of Kehlani in this gorgeous outfit popped up. And of course, I'm going to remake that in Ankara. It looks simple enough, right? And I already did something similar when I made my jellyfish outfit. Go watch it. And I was like, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, let's do it. So the first thing that I am going to make is going to be just the long straight skirt. So I'm thinking I'm going to do the long straight skirt. And then the top part looks like some kind of like a mini, like a small bubble effect. It's giving like a bubble skirt to me. Like a bubble skirt, like peplum situation. And then the top is like just like a tube top with like flower appliques on it, which is fun because with my jellyfish outfit, the original idea that I had for the top was to do like a flower top before I changed my mind because I felt like it didn't look professionally done enough. But I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make my thing look crafty and it's still gonna be cute. So I felt like this was the gods and the ancestors telling me that I should go back and make this flower applique top that I wanted to do. So I'm gonna go do it with the same fabric as I use for my jellyfish outfit. So to make the long skirt, I've actually never made a long skirt before, y'all. Because I am a beginner sewer. But I did take pattern making class and I learned how to make a skirt block. This one is actually a short skirt, but I'm going to just extend it and make it a long skirt. Now, I don't know how long Kehlani's skirt is because none of these pictures show the full length, but it looks like it gets all the way down. Just looking at this, it looks like it gets all the way down. So I'm just going to make mine also go all the way down. I can't see the back of her skirt, but I'm thinking for mine, I'm gonna put a pleats so that I can walk because walking is important to me. Yeah, and then we will see. Okay, so here's where we are. I have two pieces of pattern paper here, one and two, because I'm gonna cut the front and the back pieces at the same time. I already measured the length of it. I measured 42 inches. Because that's how I actually want my skirt to be 41 inches. Wait. Yes, 41 inches. And that already includes my bottom hem allowance of 2 inches. And so what I'm going to do is this pattern starts at my waist, but I actually want my skirt to start about 3 inches below my waist. I'm not going to cut my pattern because this is my skirt block. I'll always use this, but I want it to start about 3 inches below my waist. So I'm going to mark 3 inches. I'm just going to mark 3 inches on this. So 3 inches is wider than I thought. Yeah. Just so I know. And I'm gonna just fold my paper 3 inches away from the top because I'm not cutting it because I'm gonna use this to make skirts in the future. I don't want to mess with it. And I'm gonna do the same thing. So that was with the back piece. I'm gonna do the same thing with the front piece. So let's just do them one by one. Cause now that I'm remembering it, because when I think about it, one of them is going to be cut on fold. The front is going to be cut on fold, and the back is going to be cut on two pieces because the back is going to have a zipper. And I have to think about seam allowances because the skirt block does not include seam allowance. But the lazy way I was going to do it is not going to work. Okay, so let's start with the front piece. That's the easy one because it's going to be cut on fold. So we're here. It's not pencil. So I'm just going to draw. Actually, let me take this down. It's going to be easy once I take it down. So I'll take it down. There we go. So it's not like moving around. Okay. I'm just going to draw this line at the top. Okay, it's fine. Because I just realized I did it inside out. I probably wanted the front part where I have all my darts showing, but I could just retrace it. It's fine. Okay, so I'm basically just tracing this pattern. I'm gonna actually draw my hip line because I might want that as a guide for my peplum bubble, my bubble peplum. Okay. So that's my hip. And then the darks are actually, I don't even know, am I gonna need this dart? That's actually very tiny now that I folded the top part away. Okay. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is, this is actually gonna be quite easy. So this is the center. We're doing the front unfold. So I have to not forget my seam allowance. So that's the reason why we're doing all of this, is because seam allowance. So I'm already doing my seam allowance at 1/2 inch. And this ruler is, what, 1.5 inches. So I'm making, let me make the curve. So 1/2 inch is how I'm drawing. So I'm gonna mark 1/2 inch on this hip curve. The hip is not even curving that much. Because it really is like a straight cut skirt. There we go. And so I'm literally just gonna draw this all the way down. So what I'm gonna do to make that easy for me is, let me connect this top part. This hip is not curving that much, really. So I just got my curved ruler. I'm curving this. What else is my hair blocking? Okay. So what I'm gonna do to draw this straight down is I'm just gonna measure this. And this measures at basically like almost a 10. That's like a 9/7/8. So I'm just gonna measure 9/7/8 all the way down. So 9/7/8. I just want you guys to know that I am a beginner sewer. Okay, I'm not a technical sewer. I'm not a professional seamstress. So some of the ways I make clothes might seem very crafty because I do consider myself to be a crafter. So if you do want technical sewing techniques, like, you might want to find other videos on YouTube, because like I just figure out ways. Like for me, it's like I see an outfit I want to make, and I will just figure out my own way of making it, and that's that. You know, I do seek help on YouTube though. Don't remember, I use a lot of YouTube resources when I'm making something that I literally have no idea how to make it. But if I can figure something out, I'll just make it my own way. I not care about the technical way of making the outfit. Okay. So I'm just gonna cut this out, and then let's label this fold. The cutting one unfold. Cut one, unfold. So that's it. Very, very simple. So I'm gonna do the next one. I don't know when things are easy. I kept looking at it like I'm hoping I'm not making a mistake. I'm not allowed to make mistakes, okay? I don't have time to make mistakes. Okay, so the next pattern is a back piece. Okay, so I got the back piece. Okay, so the back piece actually has okay, this one actually has longer darts in the back. So similar to how I did the front, I'm just gonna tape this down for sanity. Sanity is very important when it comes to sewing. Okay, because the little things that will drive you insane. So the little things that you can do to keep yourself sane is very helpful. Okay, so similarly, we're gonna draw the line at the top. Okay. And then we're gonna add the 1/2 inch seam allowance. Oh, that's done. I'm glad that the pattern making class was very useful for me, because sometimes it's like you pay so much money for these classes, and like sometimes I think I'm not just wasting my money, you know. But so far, all the sewing classes that I've taken have been very useful. I've taken 3 sewing classes. There's sewing 101 that teaches you just like the basics of using a sewing machine, and the basics of using a pattern. Very, very helpful for me, because I sew a lot with patterns, even though I don't always love it. I don't always enjoy sewing with patterns. I do sew a lot with patterns because I can't make my own patterns, and I don't think I'm really that interested in making my own patterns, especially for like complicated clothing. And then I took Copy Your Clothes class, which has been very helpful because I use my own clothes as guides a lot of the time when I'm sewing. And then this was pattern making class for making a skirt block. So this is what? 10 point a quarter. 10 point a quarter. 10 and a quarter. I don't know why I'm saying 10 point a quarter. I'm so used to splitting in decimals. Yeah, and then this pattern making skirt block, pattern making for skirts, learn how to make a skirt block. That's what I'm using right now to make this skirt. And that's also where I learned how to make a good day flare. That was a flare I had on my lingerie dress. So extremely, extremely helpful. And now I feel like I can do almost anything. For real, for real. So I can do anything. So the next sewing class I'm going to take is going to be like a pattern making bodice class, because I don't know how to make my own bodice. When I made a lingerie dress, the bodice was the sewing pattern that I used, which I had 0 issues with at that point. And I have so many sewing patterns, I still use them as guides. In fact, for this skirt, I have 2 bubble skirt sewing patterns that I might use as a guide. But honestly, I don't think I actually need those patterns. I don't actually think I need them. Okay, so that's it. I'm just gonna mark. But yeah, I'm still gonna take a body pattern making class though, but not anytime soon. Not anytime soon. I'm gonna enjoy the things I'm learning right now. When I feel ready to take one, I will take one. Like I do think that made me take that skirt pattern making class was because of that one Nigerian dress. Like I literally took that class just so I could learn how to make that goodie feel on a Nigerian dress. If I wasn't making that, I might not have taken the class. But I'm glad I did because see how useful it was. Because I don't have a straight skirt pattern in my repertoire of patterns. So I would not have been able to start making an outfit at midnight. Like I'm doing right now because now it's a little past midnight now I'm making an outfit. But I don't know why we do this. I've seen memes from other creatives, other sewing people who say that literally they'll have all day lounging in the house and at midnight and they'll get a sewing idea. That's what happened to me. I spent all day lounging in the house because I told myself that I was going to take a sewing break today because I've been really burnt out, stressed, tired, and sick. And I took a nap, woke up at 8 p.m., was lounging, minding my business, and Kehlani decided to be hot on my Instagram. Like, why did I open Instagram? Huh? I don't know why I did that to my cup. So now I'm out here. And the reason why I'm making this particular outfit, I said, is because it's so similar to my other jellyfish outfit I made. Like, it's actually crazy. Like, it's so similar to it. Like, I know I can make this very easily. If it was a complicated outfit, I would not be doing this at midnight. I promise you guys. It wasn't that I knew that was going to take me a little bit of research, a little bit of this, that, and the third. I would just mark it, add it to my pile and my file of posts to be inspired by. And that would have been done. And I'll pick it up in the future. But when things are so easy to make, like my brain just immediately just wants to jump on it. Especially when I get so excited. Because it's so similar to an idea that I literally already had. Like, it's actually crazy. I'm like, why not? Why not make it? I just started. I'm already fucking up, y'all. I got for distracted copying to you guys. So for the back piece, I forgot that I needed seam allowance for the zipper because I'm not cutting the back on fold. So I need to come back and I'm just gonna join these two pieces of pattern paper together. That's what I'm gonna do. Just gonna join this together and cut just half an inch in it. It's not fine. This is annoying though because it's extra work when I could have just done it right the first time. But alas, here we are. Okay, so now I'm good. I'm just gonna join these pieces of paper together and then I'm just gonna do half an inch here also for my zipper allowance and then cut this one out again. Guess what, y'all? Yep, I forgot something else again. And this is why you do not sew at midnight, okay? So I told you guys I wanted to have a slit at the back of the skirt. So this is my back skirt pattern. So what I forgot, oh my God, wait a minute. So the thing I forgot to do was cut out extra fabric for the slit. Because you know when you have a slit, it like folds in on itself, right? So you're going to have like, I don't know if this is actually going to make any sense. But if you've done a slit, then you probably don't need this explanation. But assuming that, okay. So you need this extra pattern so that you can double fold it so you don't have raw edges when your slit opens because it's going to make it ugly. I mean, you could always do your slit and just fold it in like a hem. But if while you're working that your even if you do the zigzag stitches, it might still be exposed and you might not want that. So basically you need to add like an extra fabric where your slit starts so that when your seam is folded this way, right? So this is your regular seam allowance. You added extra fabric here. What did I say? Okay. So this is your regular seam allowance. You added your extra fabric here. So when you fold this, you can then fold this in also. And now you can see this is closed. So that when you're walking and people are looking at your slit, it's going to be closed and not raw edges. So it's nothing crazy. I'm just going to add. And I learned this after I did my top for my jellyfish because one of my sleeves had a slit, and then I realized that I never did this extra fabric, and so my slit was like raw on the edge. But it was fine because you know me, I wear imperfect clothes all the time. But I was like, okay, next time I gotta make sure I add that like slit allowance. So this is the chaos of sewing because I cannot find my my pink ruler anywhere. Oh, I found it right here. Right here. Part of sewing is really just looking for things. For real, for real. It really is just looking for things. Okay. So this is my fabric because now I'm using all this yellow tape. I'm going to be losing my... There we go. So I'm just going to add half an inch Nothing too crazy. So I measured 25 inches from the bottom of my skirt to where I want my slit to start. So that's it. So I'm just gonna draw 25 inches. I said 25 inches. I'm just gonna draw half an inch straight down. So I'm adding that to my pattern paper because I forgot to draw that out. And then that's where my 25 inches is. And then where's my paper scissors? I'm just going to cut it out. There. Okay, and that's it. Now I have my little opening for my slit in the back of the skirt. Make sure you add your slit to the center back of your skirt. Okay, not to the hip, not to the hip side. So that's why I was making sure that early on. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go cut up my fabric and then stitch this straight part together, and then I'll come back. So it is the next morning. I did not go to bed until 3 a.m. I did not go to bed until I finished the skirt. Okay, so the skirt is finished. I think I might still need some adjustments because I think it's too wide at the waist. So, but I'll figure that out later. Because I need to actually put in the zipper and zip it for me to know how much. I did want to tell you guys that I did put a lining on the inside because I learned from a couple professionals that lining helps the outfits drape better and things like that. So, and because this is like cotton doesn't really drape and like body hog and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that the I use satin, yeah, just like a satin lining would help it a bit better. So the next thing that we're going to do is going to be the hold on. So the next thing we're going to do is going to be like the bubbly part of the skirt. Is my phone upside down? No. It's bubbly part of the skirt. And so I measured myself from like here until I think it falls maybe right below her crotch. And I think I'm going to do mine at like an 8.5 inches. And then for the to make it bubbly, I learned somewhere online that for flare skirts, it's good to do like your hip measurement times 2 for like a regular flare. If you want something more voluminous, you could go times 2.5 times 3. I'm gonna do mine at the times 2 because hers is not all that voluminous. I'm gonna do mine at times 2. So I measured my hip around 37.5 times 2, plus I added 2 inches for like seam allowances, whatever. I ended up coming up with like about 77 inches for the length that I'm going to cut. And then I said I'm doing like an 8.5 for the height, if that makes sense. So let me show you how I'm cutting the fabric. Okay, so the idea for my bubble skirt is that I have this length of fabric. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the fabric into 2, and I'm going to make sure that the length ends up at like 8.5 here. So let me just adjust this. And the reason why I'm doing it at a fold because I think it's going to be easier for me. So basically, this is going to be the bottom of my bubble skirt. This is going to be the part that's going to attach to my waist. And so when I join these two together, I will gather it up here. And then that way you're going to have your gathered bubble situation with this folded. That's how it's making sense to me. So that's how I'm going to do it. Okay. So I have cut my 77 inches by, what was it, 17? And then I folded into half. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gather it. So I personally prefer gathering my skirts by hand. It is slower, obviously, but I feel like it just keeps me sane. Especially with something that's as long as like this, and it's cotton fabric. Like I feel like when I'm mashing stitch my gathers, it's just so much harder for me to move to actually gather the fabric. And I know I've seen some people online who've used like gathering foots and things like that. I'm gonna have to look into that because I feel like I find myself gathering clothes a lot. I'm making a lot of gathered clothes lately. So if there's like a foot out there that can help someone automatically gather stuff, I would love that because I hate doing gathers. Like doing one like this is fine, But if I were trying to make like a layered gathered skirt and I wanted it to be like a tiered skirt, like a 3-layer skirt, having to like hand stitch all of the layers will piss me off. But doing just one layer is fine like this. So yeah, so I can just do this and I can just, you see, pull it and you see how it just automatically gathers like that. Exactly. So I'm gonna just go ahead. I'm not gonna use one long thread because this is 77 inches. So I'm gonna do probably like 3 of these. I'm gonna do a third and then a third, so that I'm gonna have 3 threads that I pull around. Because if I just do one thread that's 77 inches long, it's going to break. Okay, so I'll do that and I'll come back. So I have finished stitching the gathers in my skirt, but I don't know yet how much gather I need to fit it to my skirt until I try the skirt on. But I can't try the skirt on without a zipper. So I pretty much just safety pin my zipper to the skirt. Then I'm going to try it on and see if it fits, and then adjust the skirt to fit me. And then that way I'll know how much gathers I need to add to the skirt. I did try it on, and yes, the skirt was too big. And I realized that I just need more darts. And then I was looking at my pattern paper and I was like wearing the skirt, right? And I was like, wait a minute, I was like, I need some darts here. I need some darts here, but I already have a dart here and a dart here. And I was like, wait a minute, I only have 2 darts in the back. Like, I'm pretty sure I was supposed to have 4. And then I realized that I am missing literally the dart here that I said that I needed. Isn't that crazy, y'all? Isn't that crazy? So I am missing the dart here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that dart. I'm going to try it on again and see if it fits better. Okay, so these are my gathered skirts. So this is actually the right side. So what I want to actually do is just turn it to the wrong side. Not all the way. I don't need to take it all the way. But what I wanted to do was basically stitch one side closed, so that when I stitch it on the right side, it looks like a neat closure. I think that's a good idea. And then I could probably do the other side too. I'll just need to open it at the top where some of my gathers are to like flip it inside out. But basically, I want the stitches of the bubble skirt to just be neat so it doesn't look raw on the skirt. So I'm done with the stitch. As you can see, this is the right side. You see how the stitches on inside looking neat? Yes. And then I had to undo some of my gather stitches at the top here. So I could also do this side. And you can see it's also neat. So I'm going to add my gather stitch again and then gather it and then attach this to the waist of my straight skirt. So I'm just going to attach it to the waist of my straight skirt after I gather it. Then I'll come back and show you guys what it's looking like. So update, this is where we are. This is what the skirt is looking like. I already put in the zipper, and I actually put in the zipper before I put in the bubble flare, because I realized that made more sense. The other thing I did is that I kind of penciled the skirt out. So you can kind of see how the skirt is going in all the way to the bottom, because Kehlani's looked more like that. Plus, it also just looks better than having the skirt straight. So a few things to do. I have to like finish up the slit. I also still need a waistband, and then just finish up the seams, and the skirt will be done, and then I'll be on to the top. Okay, so for the waistband, what I basically did was measure the skirt from like right where the zipper is, where the fabric starts away from the zipper all the way around. And I had like 30.75, so I added my 1 inch seam allowance because I'm going to fold it at ½ an inch on this side and ½ an inch on this side. So I came up with that fabric that has the tape roll on it. I literally just cut it from some random scraps. I didn't even measure the width really. I didn't measure this like width really. I just measured the length because I literally cut it from, you see this leftover scraps. So, but if I measure the width, I think it's about 3.5. It's not even all that even. Yeah, it's not even all around. So I could clean that up, but it doesn't really matter because what I'm going to end up doing is that I'm going to fold this in, right? Iron that down and then fold it again like that in half. So I'll show you guys when I'm done. So my waistband is done. As you can see, I just folded it so that when I stitch this to my skirt, there will be no raw edges. And basically I made the width, I wanted the width to be about 75 inches wide because I didn't want the waistband to be too thick, you know, because otherwise the skirt is not going to look good. So now I'm just going to go attach this to the waist of my skirt. I'm doing it more like facing. Is that the right way to explain it? So sometimes, like when people do waistbands, right, they basically like attach it on top like that, but I actually want mine to be like inside, like flush. See what I mean? So it's gonna be on top of the skirt. It's not gonna be like floating up. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but basically, yeah, that's the plan, is to attach it literally like this. Like I'm using this waistband to basically cover this gathered stitching. So I'm just gonna do that all around. Waistband done. So the next thing for me to do, I'm gonna do is the slit. So as you can see, I did double fold it, right, so that the raw edges don't show on the outside while I'm walking. And as you can see, because I had that extra fabric, it let me double fold it in piece. So you see, it's perfect. You see how my seam just like blends into this seam is raw and open, but you can see that my slit is double folded. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm finally done with the skirt. As you can see, waistband attached, zigzag seams done, hemming at the bottom is done, the slits done. So we're gonna try it on so you guys can see the final look, which is actually not different from the last thing you guys saw, because it's just now I just put in some hems, but why not just try it on so you guys can see the final look. Ignore the top. I'm just wearing the top from my jellyfish outfit so that I'm not topless, but as you can see, the only thing is that I wish I had more flare over here. You can see that's lacking in flare, but I think in general I did a pretty decent job with it, and I'm gonna rock it just like that. I like it a lot. See my slits? Yes. It's giving. Well, thank you all for joining me on this journey. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. Part 2 is coming soon. Where I'll be making the top. And that top is not going to be regular, okay? If you've seen my other outfits, ain't nothing regular about me, okay? That top, I can't wait to make it. I can't wait for you guys to see, because I'm gonna spice it up. Trust me on that. It's a little bit of spice. Okay, so yeah, subscribe so you know when part 2, the top, comes out.